Today we're in San Francisco. We're always in San Francisco, and we're gonna test out the Airtag as an anti-theft device.
Is that my line?
No.
First, we'll test what happens when a thief with an Android phone steals an Airtag protected bike. Then we'll do the same test, but with an iPhone equipped thief. Finally, we'll look at the potential deal breaker for Airtags, its anti-stalking features. We'll test these over multiple days and see if they render the Airtag ineffective. As a quick note, because the Airtag is so small, I think we're gonna find plenty of creative places to hide it. But for our tests, we just taped it to the bottom of the seat.
Bye, Gordon!
To simulate the thief having an Android phone, we set Gordon's iPhone to airplane mode and triple-checked all networking was disabled. This ensures that Gordon's iPhone can't communicate with the Airtag, and instead the Airtag's location is relayed through nearby strangers' iPhones.
It's been just over 11 minutes since Gordon left with the tracker, and I saw like an immediate bite when he left. Since then, it's just gotten one more location, which is on Howard and 2nd Street in San Francisco.
I chose this spot because of the density. You know, it's not like near woods. And there should be enough people around me in the middle of the city where Andrew can find me.
It was in kind of a weird location on the map. Like it looked like it was in a kind of in a construction site, so I didn't think that this is actually where it was, but it was.
The Airtag location was off by about a block. Still, it was close enough that I could see our thief from the road. And more time, and pedestrians with iPhones, may have made this more accurate. For the second test, we restored networking on our thief's iPhone, and again had him go to an unknown location for me to try and track down. I also wanted to see how having the iPhone right next to the Airtag affected its location frequency. So Gordon rode off with the Airtag again, and I waited for him to find a spot.
I just got to the second location. Let's see if Andrew can find me.
Now, while the first test was off by about a block or so, for the second test, it was pretty much spot on. Also, because Gordon's iPhone was always around to relay the Airtag's location, the update frequency went from a sporadic 10 minutes to pretty much every 2 to 3 minutes.
All right, Gordon, what do you think about the Airtag so far?
So far, it's meeting my expectations.
I don't think there's really anything to complain about except for the tracking frequency. It's a complaint, but like we're nitpicking on something that's 29 bucks.
Yeah, ideally, if my bike is being stolen, I would like real-time tracking, like how I see the blue dot on my maps when I'm walking around. They can trace me.
Yeah, that would be the dream.
With 2 tests down, the only thing that we thought could be a deal breaker was the Airtag's ability to notify thieves when one is present. These anti-tracking features is sort of the reason that I was so reluctant to make this video in the first place. My thought process was that if a thief steals a bike and then gets a pop-up on his iPhone, or if he can disable Airtags wirelessly without knowing exactly where they're hidden, Airtags aren't going to do us much good. For the last test, we simulated the thief taking home the stolen good and the Airtag back to his apartment.
Alright, I'm gonna walk you through exactly what I've done since leaving Andrew. Instead of beelining it towards my apartment,
we had him go to a couple different places in the city so his iPhone could really tell that the Airtag was sort of tracking him around.
This is the point where I thought I'd be telling you Gordon got back to his apartment. The Apple tracker app told him that an unknown Airtag was following him around. Hey man, it now says, I told him that it's got his perfect address set on there, and right now I'm just kind of a little bit shocked and a little bit amazed that this works as good as it is. I think at some point it's gonna tell him, hey, you're getting tracked by this Airtag, but it hasn't yet.
From what Apple has released, they've said that they're only going to notify you about this tracking feature if you go to a place that you spend a lot of time at, something like work or home. So I didn't think that he would get notified as he rode around, but I assumed that once he got home, he was going to get something.
I still haven't received a notification that I'm being stalked.
We waited and waited, and we got nothing. Now, if we were professional YouTubers, we would have just finished the video right there and just put this thing out. Headline, the perfect GPS tracker with no anti-tracking features. Thumbnail, something like this. But since we're amateurs and can't resist putting more hours into a single video, I asked Gordon to try taking the tracker from his house again after 72 hours and record a little summary of the test. He gave me 4 good takes.
Well, it's been 72 hours since I
After
left
3
Canada.
days, the tracker is supposed to notice that it's been separated from its owner and enter a lost mode. The AirTag did begin chirping, but only for 10 to 15 seconds.
I think. Yeah, it's making a noise. Well, that's something. Huh.
But it still never notified Gordon on his iPhone, and the entire time I could see his exact address in the Find My app. Furthermore, the speaker is quiet enough that some tape and a little bit of foam would be enough to muzzle it. Or you could just remove the speaker entirely.
There it goes.
Once I was back home and started editing this video, I decided that we should try and trip the anti-tracking features again. You know, just one more time. So I went over to his house, we ran around Union Square, doing pretty much everything we could do to try and activate these features. We went back to his house for the moment of truth. We looked at his iPhone, and nothing. We're gonna put the AirTag back on the bike, and we're gonna see how close you need to be to actually disable the AirTag. For all of these tests, I made sure that I had my Apple Watch and my phone in airplane mode, but no matter what we did, that's the AirTag, that's the phone. Gordon wasn't able to disable the AirTag, even once it was right next to his iPhone. Okay, first off, what's your emotional feeling right now?
Disappointment?
Yeah, I feel disappointed. That's wrong, because right now we should be super excited, because that means you can get a super cheap, super tiny, super long battery life GPS tracker now for $29 with
Yep.
no subscription.
That's a fair point. I'm not sure why I care so much, because any other GPS tracker actually has, like, they don't have this feature at all.
If it was super easy to disable these things, thieves could find them quickly, disable them, and it's like they're not even there. But if the thief has to know exactly where it's at to disable it, and then furthermore, it's gonna be a he, if he has as much trouble disabling it as we do, this just became even more awesome. It's been a few days since me and Gordon just made this last attempt to sort of activate the anti-tracking features on the AirTag, and Apple did make a tiny tweak, but it doesn't appear to affect any iPhone notifications. It just makes the AirTag start making noise sooner. Before it would be after 3 days, and now they say it's something in between 8 and 24 hours. So I think for the context of bikes and e-bikes and finding like very cheap GPS tracker alternatives, right now I think this has a glowing review from me. The only downside of this is that it does chirp after a few days, but I think that could be sort of... Now, I'm not gonna be taking off my GPS trackers. I still think those are a little bit more robust in that they can't be disabled and they don't make any noise, but for $29, this is pretty dang good.
Think I got the chance, and I ain't gonna waste it. Honey, tripping romance,